All right, welcome back, dear viewers. I got a game review video for you today. Broodmother Skyfortress by the immortal Jeff Rients. Yeah, I'm going to tell you to buy this. This is a good book for a lot of reasons. Someone from my Discord wanted to run a one shot. We did it a couple weeks ago. He chose this. We were going to record it, but there was some technical issues in so far as like the logistics and how to make sure we could do it while him still using what was he using? Forge or something like that. I can't remember what it was, some VTT, but we were having some issues, so we didn't get a chance to record it for you. I got a chance to play a Magic user, a high level Magic user, and I freaking loved it. But before we get into everything, this is what I do. I play games, I record myself playing those games, and then I talk about those games. I got nothing against the flip through review, but sometimes I think a polished game looks good but then plays horribly, and you just wasted like 50, 60, $70 or more. But then you have like these little indie games out there for like a couple bucks, and they are a lot of fun. So I want you to put your money where it should go, and that's what my channel is about. And if you like that, please hit like and subscribe and the bell icon, yada yada yada. Let's get started. So Broodmother Skyfortress, or How I Learned to Love Magic Users. I had a lot of fun with this one shot. It was just me, a buddy of mine, and then another friend who's running the game. So it was just two players. A third joined us late, but it was still a lot of fun. And Jeff Rients is an old school OSR guy from the very beginning. This guy is just a wealth of knowledge if you're interested in old school gaming. If you're interested in developing your skills as an OSR player, I highly recommend you go to his gaming blog. He's not writing as often, but it's still a great sort of rabbit hole to go down. There's a lot of great essays at his blog, Jeff's gaming blog. So what is Broodmother Skyfortress? Well, it's one of the few upper tier Lamentations adventures. Our game master for the one shot basically told us to make 10th level characters. But what is also in this nice book here is a series of essays from Jeff's gaming blog that are just a must read. So you got a lot of great gaming advice, and Broodmother Skyfortress won an Emmy in 2017 for Judges Spotlight. It's only $10 at drive-thru for the PDF. Unfortunately, I was one of the lucky few to get one of the last hard physical copies, but if you can find this anywhere, physical copy, it's worth spending the money to pick it up. The art's great. I'm going to show you some of it, and like I said, it's just chock full of RPG advice. So the first chapter is how to run this module, and it's an essay on what a campaign is and what some advice to avoid as a game master. Don't love your campaign so much you're not willing to destroy it. Essentially, let the players do what they do to your campaign world, and that way it becomes this more living thing as opposed to a static thing. And so the premise of this module is what would happen if a bunch of giants showed up and started wrecking the place. And it's essentially this cloud fortress that these shark giants, as you can see from the cover, have taken control. They've landed on your planet or wherever, and are starting to basically destroy everything, eat the people, and drink the beer. Chapter 2 is about getting up to the Sky Fortress, and this is another great essay on how to run obstacles, in my opinion. It's a great essay because this is basically what I do. I don't have solutions when I develop an obstacle. I mean, I have something in mind, but it's not set in stone. I listen to the players, and this is exactly what Jeff tells you to do. Just let them think up of any weird cockamamie idea. If it sounds plausible, great. If not, roll a die to see if it works. Um, and like I said, it's just chock full of RPG advice. So the first chapter is how to run this module, and it's an essay on what a campaign is and what some advice to avoid as a game master. and just let him go, because I mean this is a kind of a gonzo module to begin with. You have these giant shark guys who have elephant bodies, and when you read the chapter on the brood itself, they're kind of mutants as well. There's just some strangeness to them. So, yeah, and then they're in the Skyfortress that's floating around your fantasy world, wrecking havoc and destroying everything. So, let the players come up with whatever they want to come up with. This section also gives you some suggestions for why they might need to go to the Skyfortress. Like if you have a player that's just like, "What's my motivation?" kind of thing, come up with something, and he just kind of gives you some ideas. This module is non-linear. Like he's not telling you X happens, then Y happens, then Z happens. It's here's a Skyfortress, here's some brood crazy monsters, here's a map of the Skyfortress with some encounters, and then here's some suggestions on what to do with it, and then you go and do it. This is like my favorite type of module. It's actually how I try to write things. Like a lot of times, it's just sort of like it's something that you can place. Quick play report here. So for this one shot, we made 10th level characters, and our game master told us that we were lords and heroes of renown, such that we were invited to a wedding between two cities during a time of peace. So we were away from the main cities when the Skyfortress attacked. Very smart setup, right? But then, a guardsman shows up. He's tired because he's been riding through the night because he needed to get to us, and he tells us the home city was attacked by a floating city, and my character's wizard tower was destroyed. So now I have a personal stake. My character Thorkel Falco, Sorcerer Supreme, was not having any of that. So getting to the Skyfortress, there's like a rumor chart that's in the book. I completely bypassed that. I cast a spell called Suicide Winds from I believe it's Eldritch Cock. It's one of the playtest spontaneous casting rules from Lamentations, the alternative magic system. And that allowed us to basically bypass all that. We went straight to the hometown, talked to someone who said the thing headed north. We looked at the map and oh, there's another city heading north. Let's just go to that city. I cast the spell again, and we were able to get to the Skyfortress pretty quickly. What was interesting about this spell is that if it did not go well, it could have ended the one shot there, as the winds would have dropped us 1,000 feet up in the air, and we would have been dead. But hey, magic's dangerous, and I love it. So anyway, we were able to get to the Skyfortress. Okay, so there are quite a few of these creatures, and I'm not going to go through them all because I think it'll be a fun read, and I don't want to spoil anything. But Jeff Rients gives you these detailed descriptions of each of the creatures' personalities, and their sort of who they like, who they're allied with, and who hates them. So there's sort of you get all this information, so you can almost do, I don't want to say faction play, but your players can use this information, and you, the game master, can use this information to create these great situations using these crazy creatures. We contested with 4 of them right off the bat, but yeah, anyway, so, and then he gives you some stats, and you can make this, and he gives 2 sets of stats, so you can make this a little bit more challenging. It's really up to you. Again, it's a module, but it's almost like a toolkit, and it's also almost like a how-to manual. It's just a great module. So this chapter also provides you with advice for how to run the module, broadly speaking. He doesn't use this phrase, but I do all the time. Nothing is canon. When you're the game master, it's your world. Okay, you pick up Forgotten Realms and you want to have Cormire be run by frogmen. That's you. Go right ahead. That's all you. And that's essentially what Jeff is saying in this. Figure out how to fit this into your campaign. And he gives you all these ideas for what they are. Are they angels? Are they just shark elephants? Who are these guys? He also gives you advice on and some recommendation on who built the Skyfortress. One such idea was it was built by Titans, and maybe those Titans are the dead gods from your last campaign. So there's sort of this connectivity there. It's totally up to you what you want to do. So it's, again, like every chapter seems to be just an essay, like on how to be a better game master and how to run your games well, Um, and then there's the Skyfortress itself, which I'm not going to go into detail at all because part of it is we bypassed a lot of it. Number one. Number two, again, it's a fun read, and I don't want to spoil anything. But you get a basic map, some random tables to kind of figure out where the brood is located, and and then that's it. So what we did was when we encountered the four in this capital city just killing everybody, we attacked them, and I cast a spell called the Planet that once used to absorb flesh in order to achieve divinity and immortality. Basically, that uh, liquefies all bone structure in the target, and because I was 10th level, I had it for 10 rounds, and I could affect up to 10 people, and once affected, they were affected for 10 turns, so that's 100 minutes. So I was successful in attacking 3 of these guys. They failed their saving throws. They became like these blobs of flesh, and they couldn't do anything. And these things had like 20 hit die. Okay, so I turned these 20 hit die creatures into nothing, and per the spell, I could like fold them up. So I stuffed them in sacks, tied some rocks to the stacks, and then I just put them on my horse and rode out to a lake and dropped them in the lake and drowned them. And because I took care of the sword freak who had a Vorpal sword, my dwarf buddy picked it up and cut the head off of the fourth one that attacked us. When we got to the Skyfortress, we found the Runt, who hated the sword freak, and when we told him we killed him, at this point I took on the persona of like one of Jack Vance's spellcasters. I'm practically a god. I'm Sorcerer Supreme. So I told him, like, you guys wrecked my house, you wrecked my tower. We need to have a talk about liability and how much you owe me. And the Runt was overjoyed that we killed the guy that bullied him. So I said, take me to your leader. And he's like, yeah, it's Big Mama. So we bypassed all the stuff, got into to face Big Mama, and then I cast a spell called Nightmare Heaven, which allows me to rewrite reality with the very next 5 words that I utter. And the very next 5 words I uttered was Big Mama dies of coronary. So she did. and that was the end of the module. Like, I was able to take over the module. So Thorkel Feldo may have lost the Wizard's Tower, but he gained a Skyfortress. And the Runt is now my, like, apprentice, I guess. But here's a map of the Skyfortress, and there is a map of the major dome there you see. There's some ruins, and there's things to do, and there is some other creatures that are on this map that you can encounter, like these spiders, and I want to say there's some other mutants or something like that, but that's it. I mean, and it's a fun gonzo. Like, you can use this anywhere. Like, it doesn't have to be a Lamentations module game world. In fact, I mean, you can put this in Forgotten Realms. You can put this in your Shadow Dark games. In fact, I would encourage you to, once you have characters get to 10th level. That might be kind of a fun thing to see what would happen, But yeah, so that's it. And then the rest of the book are essays from his gaming blog. And these are from long ago. Some of them were written before Lamentations was even a thing. So I mean, Jeff goes back to like the beginning of the OSR, and the essays just have some great advice. And here they are. So, what's my motivation? It's like D100 tables for, quote, that guy, end quote, at the table. Carousing tables. This was before Shadow Dark made them cool. The Living Dungeon. This is like restocking tables and tables that that can change the dungeon for each new delve. So if you're like running a mega dungeon campaign and your player's going in and out, in and out, in and out, you can have it change. And it's a wonderful little essay to do that. 20 quick questions for your campaign setting. This is like a must read. It's absolutely some great advice here for those of you who are campaign designers, world builders. It's great. It really is great. Like, everything from like how to think about clerical religions to how magic is dealt with, nations, it's just a great little set of advice for how to do it. Old schooling, how to get started. Great primer on how to run OSR games and an OSR campaign. Wandering monsters. This is one of my personal favorites because it goes into like why the wandering monsters are important and how to run those, use those tables, build those tables, and it's great. The next one is also about exploration. That's my second favorite one. That's again about sort of like how to you know, use the tools at your at your fingertips in such a way to make things interesting for your players as they explore your world. More morale, please. That's an argument for why you should be incorporating morale checks. Okay, that's a great essay. The awesome power of the first level magic user. That is a must read for anybody who's interested in playing old school magic users. Like you must read that because you may have that one spell memorized and it kind of sucks, but if you get creative with the OSR magic system, like you're a lot more powerful than you realize. Plus items versus plus something or better critters. This is a neat essay on how to handle magic immune creatures. So like in the OSR, there's a lot of creatures that can only be hit by like +1 weapons or +2 weapons. If your party doesn't have that, those monsters are really tough. Like you're probably not going to do anything, right, to affect them. But if everyone's running around with +5 daggers or something, then they're going to be real easy to kill. So how do you handle that? And he makes him a case for those magic items that are +1, +3 versus fire creatures or something like that. It's a neat essay, something to think about. Simple strength and dexterity alternatives. This is another neat essay on kind of handling stats and like alternatives for how to use them instead of just giving like a perfunctory +2 for strength 16 or something. Something to think about, especially if you're interested in like tinkering and homebrewing. Then he's got something called the Wessex Henchman Hireling Rules. I'm going to actually incorporate these into my Shadow Dark campaign that I run. Well, I've been trying to run with my son and some other kids. It's just basically a way to do hirelings quick and easy. Shadow Dark doesn't have them, but I think this would work perfectly because it's not overly complex at all. It's actually more simple than what's in Lamentations, which has been my go-to. This is a good essay, How to Awesome Up Your Players. This is about immersion, storytelling, and player agency and the OSR method, really. And it's another must-read. And then the last is The Grimoires of Wessex. It's just a bunch of spellbook ideas for your campaign that you could put in for when players discover something. But so that's essentially it. I'm sure yes, buy this book. It's only $10. It's a PDF. Buy it, read it, love it. It can be used anywhere, and it's Jeff Rients. Like, as you can tell, I'm like a big fan of him. I will read through his blog every now and again, and I always pull something out of it. And this book is no different. So, but yeah, that's all I got. I want to say thanks to Brian who ran the one shot. We had a lot of fun. It was kind of a late night, so we were kind of getting a little tired. And I know my spellcaster kind of bypassed a lot of stuff, and I could tell he was like wanted us to explore and do more. But that's the OSR, baby. Sometimes things just don't go according to plan, even when you're the game master. And that's why I love magic users. They can go up against the they can challenge the game master. And that's why I love Lamentations of the Flame Princess spellcasters. So, all right, but that's enough of me prattling on. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit like and subscribe, bell icon, and I will catch you all later.